Good evening, Oilers fans. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Oilersnation After Dark. My name is Connor Halley. I've got producer Gavin alongside with me, and tonight we will have Woz joining us to break down exactly what happened in this one. And it's a frustrating one, extremely frustrating if you're an Oilers fan. A game when you're up by so much, just to see it all fade away, and in the performance that had happened, quite disappointing. So we will recap the game. We'll get to the good, the bad, the oily, brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance. Of course, we'll bring Woz in and Gavin. He's got some good stats for you. We'll talk about the bets that he threw your way prior to the game with Betway, and lots to get to. If you're on Facebook, hello, we see you. Brian says joke. Nathan says trade. There was a trade tonight in the NHL. We'll talk about that later on as well. One of the big pieces going to a Canadian market. And then John on Facebook, why did Kane not shoot in the shootout? What a joke. Hey, he shot before. People didn't like it. Changes were made, and it didn't work out well for them. If you're on YouTube, hello. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Make sure you hit that like button. We really do appreciate that. And we'll be jumping into the chats throughout this show here to get your thoughts on a variety of topics in this game. But as we like to do here before we actually get into it, we do a quick rundown of exactly what happened in case you may have missed it. I have the feeling nobody missed it because it was a fantastic start for the Oilers tonight. A great night, raising money in the 50-50 for the Ben Stelter Fund, and it started off fantastic. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins scoring in the first period on the power play, his 27th of the season. His great year continues. From there, the Oilers would add goals from Tyson Barrie and Derek Ryan. It was looking really good at 3-0. Chris Kreider would score for the Rangers, and that was a power play goal. Power plays were 3 for 3 in the first period because Leon Draisaitl also getting on the board. It was 4-1 for the Oilers after 20 minutes, up by 3. You'd think all they have to do is try to shut it down, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't even get an insurance marker. In the second period, Chris Kreider would score a shorty. Unfortunate bounce for Tyson Barrie. He does a good job to break up the pass, but luckily for Kreider, goes right back to him, tap in. Alex Lafreniere would score a goal in the third period right off the face-off. Oilers lose the face-off, and great play by Capo Caco on Philip Broberg. Lafreniere would be the one who would finish it off, and then Mika Zibanejad in the third period would tie things up, his 30th goal of the season on the power play of 5-on-3. Shootout hasn't been good to the Oilers. Gavin's got some great stats for you when it comes to the Oilers in overtime and shootout. You guys know what happened. It went long. Oilers couldn't find a way to get the win, and they lose 5-4. Right now, we'll get to the good, the bad, the oily, brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance. My God, the chat is going crazy right now. Keep those comments coming. We'll get to them. Susan, Ricky, Gary, Scott, Frank. We see all the comments. We'll get to those momentarily. But first, the good, the bad, the oily, brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance. Cornerstone Insurance Brokers, Edmonton's premier boutique insurance brokers with over 90 years of success and still growing. Visit cornerstoneins.ca/nation to get an online tenant or condo insurance quote in just a few minutes and use discount code NATION for an exclusive rate. Find out why Cornerstone Insurance Brokers is ranked amongst the best in Alberta. For the good, the bad, the oily, we bring in Woz. Woz, good evening, sir. How you doing tonight?
Not well. I was doing great, and now I'm not so hot. I'm emotions.
I don't blame you. A game when you're up by 3 goals, 2 separate occasions. I thought after the Rangers made it 3-1, it was a good bounce back from the Oilers to get that goal once again, get that 3-goal lead back, but it would not last long, and absolutely awful. But for the good, the bad, the oily, as we usually do, we start off with the good. And tonight, the good, something bigger than hockey. The 50-50 tonight, proceeds going to the Ben Stelter Fund, which is with the Stollery Children's Hospital. If you've heard Mike, Ben's father, talk about the charity, it just helps people out. People going through similar situations that they went through. Last I saw, the 50-50 was up over $5 million. I'm just bringing it up now to get the exact amount. 5.6, just under $5.7 million for the 50-50. So, the game sucked. We'll get to that, but the good news tonight, a lot of money raised going to the Ben Stelter Fund. Ben Stelter was someone who I think a lot of people could just, see a little bit of themselves in. Everyone who was an Oilers fan at one point was a young kid who loved this team. And Ben Stelter, just all that he was going through, he was so passionate. And fought so hard, and just really good to see that this city we know loves a 50-50 and people throwing out some money to go to a great cause.
Oh yeah, definitely. And just thinking about Ben Stelter, he was definitely back when you look at that playoff run. He was the story of the playoff run. Even before that, every game Ben was at prior to the playoffs, they would almost win. There was like about 11, 15 games where Ben would go and they would win, and he just brought a smile to everybody's face. Right? He just was a light wherever he went and whoever he touched. It was just. I remember I was at that game when Ben Stelter was first introduced to the media post game as well, and I didn't understand and didn't realize at the time like how much of an impact Ben would have made going down the road, and just for a great cause. And it's a shame they couldn't have won it for him and his family, but ultimately this was bigger than hockey, right?
100%. Yeah, Ben Stelter, huge impact for this team, forever will, and really great of his family to do this and try to help out other families that are going through certain situations similar to this one. Okay, as we do here, we also have to get to the bad, and I think the bad is pretty obvious tonight. And I'm sure, as I look through the chat here, there's a lot of different things here. Giveaway after giveaway, unforced icing, losing face-offs, losing battles. There's a lot of stuff, but we'll just put it into one ball and call it the collapse. The Oilers in this one, a 3-goal lead on 2 separate occasions, and they just let it slip away. The Chris Kreider goal, unfortunate, like I said, a 2-on-1 where Kreider's trying to make the pass and Tyson Barrie blocks it, but it goes right back to Kreider for a tap for the empty net. There's not much Jack Campbell can do. He's playing the pass. Lafreniere, like I said, Capo makes a great play on the boards on Philip Broberg, kind of spins him around and he buries it. He'd go on to get the shootout winner. And Zibanejad, when you're giving the New York Rangers a 5-on-3, unfortunate how it happened. They're good. They're going to convert on those opportunities. They've got a lot of talent on that team. So the collapse, whenever it's a 3-goal, I don't care how much talent the other team has, inexcusable.
Yeah, it's a strange one to swallow because by the third period, the Oilers were getting absolutely worked by the Oilers just in every department. I think they had 2 shots on net in the third period. That's quite frankly inexcusable. I do wonder if, them going 11-6 had an impact because the boys did look a little more sluggish than usual. Especially going, down into overtime. And I do wonder if, being down going 11-6, I wonder, did that impact them, you think?
I think it's an excuse you could make, but just looking at the ice times here, Draisaitl 22, Nuge and McDavid 23 minutes played, kind of typical for them. So maybe getting out there a little bit more frequently impacted them. I don't think it helped. I think that Klim Kostin going down, not only more minutes played for other guys, but also just what Klim Kostin brings with a little physicality. I think that was a big loss. But I'm sure it played a little bit of a role there. And maybe some of these young defensemen are used to that 7th guy out there.
Yeah,
not there now with Dylan Holloway and Vinny Desharnais.
And I thought Jack Campbell played a solid game. I thought maybe there was a goal or two he could have had for sure, but. Igor Shesterkin also let in 4 goals, and he's one of the top goalies in the NHL, and I saw no complaints about him, right? So the Oilers did get, 3 goals in quick succession, and after that, they couldn't find a 5th, right? And ultimately, you shouldn't have to score 4 goals to win a hockey game, but the Rangers, took advantage of the fact that the Oilers were 11-6. They just simply outworked them. They outworked them for the win.
Yeah, 100%. And Shesterkin was great down the stretch, but yeah, the Edmonton Oilers, they got out battled in a lot of facets. And maybe I shouldn't even say he was great. Like you said, 2 shots in the third period. That's it. That's awful. And there's got to be that sense of urgency that kicks in. All right, guys, it's a 2-goal lead now, 1-goal lead now. It's tied. Let's get things going here. And they just could not find it. Man, we're doing a compliment sandwich here, almost with the good, the bad, the oil. We've got the good, we've got the bad, and for the oily, let's just take a step back and look at it because Connor McDavid, 100 points in 56 games played this season. The guy's obviously an absolute stud. When you look at it, the next closest in the league is his teammate Leon Draisaitl, who got up to 81 points with the goal tonight, and then Nikita Kucherov, 78, Matthew Tkachuk, 75, Pasternak, 74, and then a guy named Erik Karlsson, 73 points right now. So, what McDavid has done this year, just unbelievable. We should almost
Yeah.
come to expect it, but I still think you got to appreciate what this guy does.
Yeah, and also that's his sixth 100-point season in 8 seasons. So the fact he's done it 6 times in 8 years already is phenomenal. He probably could have maybe had a 7th there if he didn't get hurt. But to think about, I grew up during the kind of Taylor Hall era, the decade of darkness when it was first starting. I was like hoping maybe one day an Oiler would reach 100 points. I'm like, that'd be cool to see an Oiler get 100 points. I've never seen that before. The fact that one has done it 6 times in 8 years, and plus you got Leon Draisaitl. I mean, it's incredible. But it does leave a bad taste in your mouth when he does reach the 100-point mark in 56 games, and then they lose like that. It sucks, right? Like, you want to celebrate this victory and this milestone for Connor McDavid, but with the way they lost, it's kind of hard to focus on that. And the thing about it, during the pandemic season, the fact that he had 100 points in 53 games, and he kind of he's replicating in a sense this year, right? So it's a shame they didn't win, but still remarkable milestone nonetheless.
Yeah, and I mean, even the season that was shortened due to the pandemic, he had 97 points in 64 games. Or 97 points. So, I mean, he was right there. And then, yeah, I remember during the season where it was the North, the Canadian division, and everyone talked about how, he's only doing this because the North division sucks. Well, now it's a regular NHL season and he's doing it.
And
so
the thing is, there's always excuses for when McDavid puts up these kind of numbers. Oh, he's playing in the Pacific Division. Well, he put up some points against the Rangers. He does it against top teams, right? Like, yeah, he does have the advantage of playing against some poor teams in the Pacific, but he's barely played against San Jose this year or Arizona. I think we've played Anaheim twice. So, we've yet to feast on the bottom dwellers of the Pacific yet.
Let's just get right into this one here, because this is one I kind of thought of. And Alan says on Facebook, why the hell do we have Evander Kane? He didn't play a single minute in overtime or on the overtime power play. Never got him in the shootout. Instead, Woodpecker put him in Yamamoto and Barry. What else am I missing here? FML. Alan, I believe Evander Kane, the last time the Oilers went to a shootout, the attempt wasn't great, and he took a lot of flack. Yeah. I'm not defending it's not having him out there. I think you still have to have him out there at a certain point.
Yeah.
Who knows when that would have been. I think he got one shootout goal when he played for the Jets, so it's been a long time. But no, I mean, I don't know what's going on there. We'll have to see if it's brought up post-game press conference with Coach Woodcroft. But yeah, you'd like to see him out there in overtime at the very least.
It's weird. It is weird. I don't know either. And with the shootout, I know they had a few different attempts where like Derek Ryan, Tyson Barrie, I think they just changed it up a little bit because it didn't work against Detroit or Philly, right? So it's okay, I think, to experiment in the shootout for a bit. But your top players should be scoring, right? Like, that's ultimately it. I mean, in the overtime in past seasons, the Oilers have relied on Draisaitl and McDavid to finish it off, and for whatever reason, they're not connecting well enough in overtime. I've noticed this year. They would often do the cross crease that would work usually 9 times out of 10. And this year they're struggling to convert in overtime, which is strange, right? Like, usually when the Oilers go to overtime, it's like, oh, this is a for sure win. Now it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be a lock. McDavid and Draisaitl would find a way to get it done. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is definitely something. Okay, I'll top over to YouTube right now. 53 people in the chat room. Hello, everyone. Rusty, Maynard, Cato. Oh, we got Austin, Dr. Gonzo. Dr. Gonzo had a chance to win tickets today from me. Ooh. And he couldn't go because he didn't have anyone to go with. And we were talking, and it's like, oh, man, missed a great game. Maybe it's best he missed that one, Gonzo, and got a chance to just watch it from home. We got Liam. He's going to have some banana rum. I like that.
That sounds good.
JL, some stranger, Pradaneski. Hello, everyone. Thank you, guys. Hit that like button. We'll continue to go through a lot of the things that we have here. I want to bring in Gavin, our producer here, because he had some pretty interesting stats when it came to overtime and just, the end of regulation. Gavin, you were saying 7 straight losses when the Oilers go to overtime or shootout, and 4 of the last 5 games have gone to overtime.
4 of the last 8, we've gone to OT or shootout, and we've lost all of them. And like you just said too, Connor, that's 7 straight now games that we've gone to the extra frame and we haven't pulled out a win. So like you guys were touching on earlier, obviously that needs to stop. We need to figure out a way how to get that extra point.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's got to be something you've got to find a way to clean up in this one. And I kind of teased it there earlier on in the show here. The Maple Leafs did make the big move, which is inevitably breaking its way into our chat because people are asking, what's Ken Holland doing? What's going on? The Toronto Maple Leafs acquire Ryan O'Reilly and Noel Achari. They also, for the flip side, the Blues get a first round, a second round, a third round, plus Mikhail Abramov and Adam Gaudette. And the Minnesota Wild were in there as well. They're taking a portion of Ryan O'Reilly's salary. I believe they get a fourth round pick to make that happen. So the Leafs giving up a lot. They acquire Ryan O'Reilly, which is, the big name, but Achari's a guy who can be bottom six. And I think he's showing his a little physicality there. Big move for the Leafs. So now I'm seeing a lot of the Oilers fans like, okay, Ken, you got to go and make that move.
Yeah, no, it's our turn now, right?
And I'm going to be bold here, and maybe some people will agree with me. And I know he's not a name that's particularly on the trade market, but you see St. Louis making these moves. Let's Ken go to St. Louis and say, hey, what's up with Colton Parayko?
I don't think they move him.
I know.
Yeah, I don't think they move him.
I know. It's just, I would go after Colton Parayko over Erik Karlsson or Jacob Chikrin. That's just me.
I don't know. I over Karlsson, I think he's gonna win the Norris this
Maybe,
year.
yeah.
I think like you bring Karlsson to this team. Oh man, if you somehow, some way Ken Holland can get it done, I think now you got it. You got to do it.
There's a blueprint now, though. There's a blueprint on how maybe you can acquire Karlsson, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you have to involve a third party and it's going to cost you maybe a fourth round pick, whatever that might be down the road, you do it. You make it happen to bring in an elite talent. I was watching Karlsson last night against the Vegas Golden Knights, and there's just plays he makes. It's just fun to watch, and he does it so easily, with such ease. He just makes these plays. And then I watch the Oilers at times get hemmed in their own end, and I'm like, Karlsson would make that pass, or he'd skate it out.
That's a good point.
He can make those plays.
Yeah, and I know Freeman, I think it was Freeman that said earlier that we actually sent a couple of scouts to Vegas to watch Karlsson play last night as well.
Jeez. Hey, you say I'll tell you. Get him. He's a good player. Yeah. He'd fit in. I'll watch him on TV.
As they would say.
Yeah, exactly. Not too hard for that one. Ricky here on Facebook says Holland is holding his cards. Lots of names out there still, for sure. I mean, I don't know if Ryan O'Reilly was that guy, but we've seen Tarasenko, we've seen O'Reilly go. It's going to start to pick up that process. So I'm sure Ken Holland is on the phone making some calls. Want to ask you guys about Kailer Yamamoto. Made his return to the lineup tonight, and obviously he's been out for a while. From what he's said and what we've heard about him, people think that he's been ready to get going for a little bit here. But in the return to the lineup, playing on the second line, 15 minutes played, took a penalty, one shot, one hit, had a block and a giveaway according to the stat sheet. Woz, what do you think of Kailer Yamamoto in his return to the lineup?
I didn't really notice him too much. I was trying to keep an eye on him. I was kind of confused on why they put him in the shootout, because since he hasn't played in a while, I thought that was like, ooh, is it really worth it? I don't know, but I know Matt Cassie. I was listening to 1260 prior to their pregame show just before the game, and he was saying how he's such a responsible player, and I guess he makes a fair point there. But Kyle, I think he did his role right. Like, I wish you could have got a goal from him, but then we scored 4, right? Like, honestly, I just didn't notice him too much.
How about you, Gavin?
Yeah, throughout the game, I think he was fighting the puck a little bit, but he did have that good chance there in front of the net. He hit that post. But it's expected, right? Like, he misses that much time battling that injury. So obviously going to take him a little bit of extra time to kind of get his feet wet, kind of thing, catch his stride again. But again, he hit 20 goals last year. So I could see him kind of getting his scoring touch a little bit on and further on in the season. Yeah,
I mean, he's certainly a streaky player. So if it gets going, we can expect it to kind of keep on going.
Watch out the Amps. I want to see that on Rogers Place, Jumbotron once again.
Exactly.
So. Yes,
exactly.
Yes, please.
Jessica says we suck at shootouts. So, okay, guys, I'll ask you this one, and I'll throw this question out to everyone watching. Let's say it goes to shootout. Your first 3, McDavid, Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I mean, Nuge has been the best shootout taker, in my opinion. Leon Draisaitl, that effort tonight. People were critical of him a couple shootouts ago, and I kind of said, hey, I don't think you have to be. For this one, taking a clapper like that, you're not going to be just Sturkin like that. So, and did he even hit the net? It seemed like a bit of an interesting effort. But let's just say you're done with those 3. Who would be your next 3 shooters?
I don't know, because Nuge is clinical. Draisaitl, I thought it was weird that he took a slap shot McDavid is, we all know how good he is, but for whatever reason, the shootout, he sometimes is very inconsistent. I don't know. I thought their selection was okay. Like, do you put in Evan Bouchard?
I mean, I'll say this. I liked Derek Ryan.
Yeah.
I thought that was a
been
good
on
one
recently.
And I think he's got, some good hands in tight. Obviously didn't work out for them. If he was here, I would be considering Dylan Holloway. And another one, I mean, I kind of like Ryan McLeod. The chance he had there in tight there, he went high and quick.
He's also a little speed,
Yeah, I mean, I think if had Fogelman was get the pass to him a little quicker, maybe he buries that. But he did a great job on that attempt to get it high and quick and hits the crossbar. But, I mean, those are the kind of the guys I would look at if I had to go for my next three.
For sure. And I'm a big believer too in kind of riding the hot hand kind of thing going into a shootout. So for an example, whoever scored that game or who's been kind of on a hot streak lately, that's kind of what I would kind of pick from.
Pradansky says I'd use Carlson in the shootout. I tweeted that also. Hey, just for the shootouts, bring him in. Like he could be good for that one. Someone says I think we miss Vinny Desharnais. I think so too. I think, even if you don't notice him, he's making life hell on the opposing side. He's got a little bit of a mean streak in him, but I don't think we'll see him for a little bit. Well, maybe we will. Condors have 3 games in the next 4 days, so maybe they'll go out there and get a lot of action.
I'll give a little shout out to 1260 again. I've been listening to them a lot recently, going to the Nation HQ, and like they were mentioning, I think it was Low Tide. They're like how he'll only be gone for 2 weeks. And I think someone else mentioned like we are kind of treating like Desharnais like this almighty, amazing defenseman. I've loved Desharnais so far, but it's almost if we're acting like he's this Norris caliber defenseman, and with him out of the lineup, it's like, oh my god, are we gonna win? Or it's like, are we gonna lose every game without Desharnais? I don't know. But
I just think it's because we went on that huge hot streak when he's in the lineup, right? So that's kind of a big thing.
I think it's a little bit like a prisoner of the moment sort of thing going on
for
there.
Sure.
Yeah, but and the one thing I will say, like if Vinny Desharnais, his ceiling is a third line pairing guy who plays 12 minutes, that's okay. You need those guys on your team and a guy who can,
especially when it comes playoff time, 100%.
Yeah, especially if it gets into a physical game, that's okay.
But here's the thing: a lot of people I was reading the comments and they're saying like, "Oh, we don't need Carlson. We need someone who's defensive." But the thing is, Erik Karlsson will allow you to move the puck out of your zone a little bit more efficiently, so you're not having as many issues in your defensive zone.
Yeah,
am I wrong or am I right?
You're 100% right, and I think that if that's how it's going to be, you probably count on Darnell Nurse to be more of that shutdown guy, but Erik Karlsson is going to be keeping the puck in the offensive end. And last time I heard, that's where it's pretty safe. You're not going to let too many goals in from the offensive zone unless it's like that one goal against Mike Smith in the playoffs last year. But that it would be nice to see. We've got one here. Neilio asks, Desharnais is sick, right? No, he and Dylan Holloway were sent down to Bakersfield.
Yeah, it was just Costin who was sick right before game time.
Yeah,
Costin has the sickness, and it is going away or going around the room.
Yeah, it's going around the room. So and that's something definitely keep an eye on, obviously.
And if you think about it, if there's a bug going around the room, and also we were 11-6, you could tell on the ice like they were sluggish. They ran out of gas quicker than usual. Even the top guns were slower. I thought even in overtime. I thought it was just a little sloppy going into the third.
Yeah, well, obviously, and that whole third period was sluggish on everyone's part. Obviously, like we touched on earlier, we had 2 shots that period. Obviously, to win hockey games, you can't have that, right? And another thing too in that game, and obviously in recent past, is our penalty kill. How do we figure that out? Right, we let another 2 power play goals tonight. Penalty kill went 2 for 4. So how do we make that better? Like this is getting ridiculous, and obviously we can't have this going forward.
Did you guys notice it at all? Like I thought on multiple occasions on the penalty kill, the 2 forwards were just flying around, like not in a formation, not in that box. Like it looked they were trying to play catch up and getting caught out of position. I don't know if that's exactly how you coach it. You're obviously opening up a lot of passing lanes and allowing the other teams to move it around. I thought Detroit's puck movement against the Oilers on their power plays was very good, and that could have also been a product of the Oilers, allowing them to do so. But yeah, that's 100% something they do need to fix, and giving up shorties is tough too.
Well, yeah, like I'm all for being aggressive 100% on the penalty kill, but know your spots too, right? Like today you have that lead, protect that lead, right? There's no really extra point to kind of be ultra aggressive. Like, yeah, you maybe want to force a turnover to go the other way on a break or a partial break, but like I just said, know your spots, right? We got to lock it down.
Yeah, there's got to be more organization on the PK as well. Like, it's this team. There should be no real excuses, I find. And Oilers fans, I've said this before, have every right to be frustrated and pissed off because the expectations are high for this team. There's high standards from Oilers fans, and when you blow a lead 4-1 and go into a shootout, people are going to be pissed off, and they have every right to do so, especially with how much money is being made around this team and the standards that were set. Contender. It's like it's okay to be frustrated, 100%.
Facebook here. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, Jas. You want a recap? Here it is. This team sucks and is not ready for the playoffs. Well, I don't know if they suck. It was a sucky second and third period for sure, but maybe they can bounce back. And just quickly, Shane says good offense is defense. Joe, best defense is a good offense. And Dante, 3-on-3, we would be sick. I mean, there's a lot of people here that want to see Erik Karlsson in this lineup. I was unsure at first, didn't know how realistic it was, but now we're getting there. I'm
all in.
Getting to the point where I'm in for it.
I'm all in on Karlsson, man.
Yeah, it's now or never. It feels like there's no real great defensive option on the market, right? And when it comes to offensive options, like Erik Karlsson,
especially at his caliber, right?
Yeah,
like he's
exactly.
in the North this year. He's probably going to put up 100 points too. But I was also talking at Nation HQ today. Do you think San Jose is going to try to push to move him? Because obviously with his contract, this is going to be like his highest value he'll have probably for the rest of his career, right? So I would assume that San Jose definitely wants to get rid of him this year. Yeah. So it might kind of be in a corner to kind of move that contract.
And it's crazy to say, even with his age, like his trade value might never be higher, right? Because just of what he's doing. We talked about the leading scorers in the NHL. He has 73 points this year. I don't know. San Jose is going to have to retain salary pretty much wherever he goes. They're already retained salary on Brent Burns, so that would only leave them able to retain on one more player. But I think for the haul you'll get for Karlsson, definitely going to be worth it.
I think Greer 100% has to make that move,
and I think
it comes to someone.
And it comes down to Ken Holland if he can be creative, right? Like it's not just Ken Holland. It's also the people around him, his management staff, the assistant GM, they all have to talk. They all have to wonder, like, how do we make a deal work here? Look at the Toronto deal just happened. Somehow St. Louis, with 75% of O'Reilly's salary got retained between Minnesota and St. Louis. Like there's something that can happen here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's the creativity you need to find. QF Pro 21. I mean, if the Leafs can make O'Reilly work, I'm sure we can make Karlsson work.
For sure.
Yeah, you just got to, like we said, find that team. Find your Minnesota Wild, throw a draft pick their way, get them to take 25% of the salary, and you can make it work. That's awesome to me. I even tweeted it out. I'm like, could a team take 45% as well? No, you can't do that. But it can be like 50% of the 50%, 25%.
And also just mentioned, like, they got Nola Achari in that deal as well. Like he's an underrated player. That's a player the Oilers were looking at. So the fact they got two players out of that is impressive. And O'Reilly, he's still a smart player regardless of his age. He can still contribute in ways maybe not offensively, but defensively he's been known to be good.
Yeah. And he's obviously shown that he can perform in the playoffs too, right? He won the Conn Smythe in 2019 and won the Stanley Cup that year as well. So it's an underrated move, and I like that fit for O'Reilly in Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. Captain too, brings the leadership, has the experience.
Exactly.
Just needs to get healthy. And Achari, I like it as well. I mean, that's a good move for the Maple Leafs. They obviously know what they're up against. They haven't won a playoff series in what feels like forever. You guys might not have even been alive. That might maybe. Have you guys ever seen the Leafs win a playoff series? I don't know. Maybe not.
Not since 2004, apparently.
So it's been a while.
Just barely then.
Just barely, yeah. I mean, can't really remember that. I barely remember that, to be honest with you. So, yeah, they had to go all in and try to find a way to get it done. The Oilers, in my opinion, I think in that same boat, have to find a way to do so. What should we get to here? Quickly, just looking at the updated standings now in the NHL with the loss tonight, overtime loss. The Oilers do collect 1 point, so that puts them up to 67 on the season. The record 30-19-7. The LA Kings were in action tonight. They were victorious. So the Pacific Division, as it stands today, the Vegas Golden Knights first with 70 points. The Kings second with 69. The Kraken third with 68, and the Oilers now on the wild card position, the number one spot with 67. So 4 points separating first in the Pacific to a wild card fight. And the Calgary Flames now out of the playoffs for the time being. The Minnesota Wild jumping into that second spot, collecting capital and getting into the playoffs for the Minnesota Wild. Let's go into the chat room here. Man, we got a lot of them. Ricky, and Can We Trust? I just saw that we still got a notification. We got to 100 comments on the Facebook chat here.
Keep it coming.
That's awesome. Like to see it.
It's a feisty Friday night.
Yeah, people fired up. It's good to see.
I wanted to be a feel-good Friday, but we didn't get that one.
No, feeling frisky Friday. Susan says we have two of the best players in the game and can't finish a game properly. Yeah, I mean, I get the frustration here for the diehard Oilers fans. Like that, there's really no excuse. You're up 3 goals. You got to find a way to lock that one down, whether it's scoring another goal to put the nail in the coffin or shut it down defensively. They didn't do either, right? And Warren Fogle had a great opportunity at the end there. Man, that would have been a massive goal for Fogle, confidence-wise, and obviously the implications for the team. But just brutal. Star says Kane needs to speak up and ask why. Why does Kane or does Woodcroft have something against him? I don't think it's like that. I don't think so either.
No. Because he put a lot of faith in him in last year's playoffs, and maybe it's something to do with the injury. We don't know, but I do think the way Woodcroft manages the minutes throughout the lineup could be a bit better, especially this season. But yeah, it's interesting. I love Jay Woodcroft, but there's definitely been some weaknesses, I guess, in his coaching style recently. Some flaws. Flaws is a better way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought at the start of the year there was. I mean, there was a lot of questions I had, putting out certain lines after a goal or in a 1-goal game. There was things where it's kind of like, you don't have to always give a chance to redeem themselves. You can put out your star players. Ron says, imagine McDavid watching his childhood favorite team wheeling and dealing, getting creative. Then there's Holland, stuck in the mud and basically retired. Wish we had a GM like Toronto.
But his childhood team didn't go to the Western Conference Final or hasn't won a playoff round in how long, right? So I hate to bring that up, but it's true. McDavid's won more playoff rounds with the Oilers than the Maple Leafs have since 2004.
But then, the thing about Holland too, and just give it time. He still has until March 3rd to get a deal done for us. So don't count him out just yet, people. It still might come. We still might get that big trade here.
Yeah, and also it's kind of like I think people look at the standings and how they're teams are moving up and down. Let's not worry about the playoffs until the last few weeks of the season. We're still grinding out here.
Well, for sure, but on games like today, you definitely got to close out because I don't know if you guys seen the beginning of our March schedule. So I'll just read off the first number of games here in March. So we start out March, Toronto, then we have back-to-back Winnipeg, Buffalo, Boston, Toronto again. So the rest of February is extremely, extremely crucial for the Edmonton Oilers. So games like today, you need to pick up that extra point.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of good. The Oilers do tend to kind of elevate their game when they're playing teams at a little higher skill level.
Like that. Yeah.
Not a great trade necessarily, but you should probably get some improved play from them. I will say, though, and I'm just trying to look it up very quickly here. The Maple Leafs, we're just going to praise Kyle Dubas. Oh, did we lose Woz?
We did for a second, and he's back.
Welcome back, Woz.
I was worried.
I think, was it who? The Maple Leafs in the past have gone out and swung and missed. I mean, they bring in Matt Murray, which didn't necessarily pan out. Who was it a couple of years ago at the trade deadline? They gave up a first for him, and it was a rental, and I don't think it went well. I'll have to try to find it. I don't know where it is, but hey, GMs are going to sometimes they'll land, sometimes they'll miss. If the Maple Leafs, lose in the first round, we're just going to say, wow, that was terrible. You gave up a lot for a guy who's now a free agent, and you did not win the series because the Leafs are very likely going to get a tough first-round matchup for them. If they finish second, they get the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first round. So,
and look, the playoffs are strange. Anything can genuinely happen. If you look back to last year, the Florida Panthers, they got swept, and they were the best team in the league, most goals scored. Anything can happen to any team, regardless of your position in the standings. I think once you make the playoffs, league standings don't matter as much, I would say, unless you're the Colorado Avalanche.
Well, the thing is, you're going to have to play the best of the best anyways when we get to the playoffs, right? So everyone's like, oh, we shouldn't finish in this position because we might play Colorado. you're most likely going to have to play Colorado anyways, right?
Mhm.
So to make it all the way, you're going to have to play the best and beat the best.
Yeah, Tampa Bay Lightning, before winning 2 straight cups, were swept by Columbus in the first round, right?
And
Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
after
those
they had
things
like
happen.
a season high, like a record-setting season. Like they put up 60+ wins and they got swept by the Blue Jackets. Like
Yeah,
the playoffs are a weird. Like if you think back to 2006, the Red Wings that year had like 130 points, 124 points, and the Oilers beat them. So it's just it kind of just a little bit of luck does go a long way. But like Gavin, you mentioned, like you got to beat whoever's in front of you.
the YouTube chat. You guys are so smart. Foligno. They give it for Nick Foligno.
Mhm.
Nice.
Lost, I think, in the first round. Well, obviously, they lost in the first round, and it didn't work out too well for him, right? So you never know. We get so like fired up and passionate about it right when it happens, and then 2 months later, you can look back and say, "Well, that wasn't worth it." Susan here says, "I don't think Carlson wants to come here." Maybe. I feel like there was a conversation at All-Star Weekend.
Oh, I was just gonna mention
maybe.
that, right?
Yeah. I think there might have been that conversation, but we don't know. That's all speculation.
Okay.
Go
I
ahead,
was gonna
Ross.
say, I don't. Why wouldn't he want to come here? Like, what other options does he have? I mean, I've been to San Jose. It's not the prettiest city in the world. I mean, sure you got San Francisco down the road, but he's played in Ottawa, and is Ottawa really that much prettier of a city than Edmonton? I mean, Edmonton's not too half bad, especially if you're playing with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Also,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a biased Edmontonian, born and raised,
Yeah,
so I
same.
can't say.
Yeah, you and me both. Yeah.
Maybe. Or, like our city, okay? I don't know. Maybe San Jose is a beautiful city. I mean, it's not LA, it's not Anaheim, but I've heard they've got some nice areas.
If I can compare it to anything, San Jose is like the Edmonton of California. There's just it's got some nice spots to it. It's all right, but it's nothing like that's like wowsy, right?
Yeah. I mean, close to the Bay, I guess that would be maybe
Yeah,
a
that's
selling
about
point.
it.
Okay, here we go into the old YouTube chat here. What's going on, guys? 69 people in the room. Nice. Make sure you hit that like button. Owen Poser. Ryan O'Reilly traded. Yes, Ryan O'Reilly is going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Tyson says Flames are growing a dumpster fire, and I love it. I'm sure you guys saw Alan Walsh CCing the Flames on Twitter. We're okay with that one, right? I think it's kind of fun
Absolutely
to watch
love it.
that.
Absolutely love it.
Good to see it from a distance away. Maynard says Lees will still bow out in the first round. It is definitely possible. There are some people bringing up potentially, and I'm sorry I missed it. I think it was Dante. Yes, Dante. Do you guys think Draisaitl is playing hurt? He's lost 2 steps in his skating. I think there might be something going on there, but he does have 3 goals in his last 3 games.
Exactly. And obviously in the playoffs last year, Draisaitl showed that he can play like with like some aches and bruises kind of thing. So I wouldn't really read too much into that. And like you just said, Connor, you scored in 3 consecutive now.
Yeah, he's finding ways. I don't know. Maybe there's some fatigue setting in. Shouldn't be.
Yep.
I mean, they just had a bunch of time
Yeah,
off.
exactly. They just had a break.
Kyle says, up and down like a toilet seat. Ken Holland. Yeah, that was a very good line that he had a couple of years ago. And then Maynard, Nugent, Spivey. Yes, 29 is banged up. I don't know what the injury would be.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they're not going to say anything. Ken Holland and Jay Woodcroft will give us nothing. But yeah, Oilers lose 5-4 in a shootout. Connor Halley. We've got Woz and Gavin, the intern, on Oilers Nation After Dark. Gavin, before the game tonight for Betway, you had a bet Draisaitl anytime goal scorer.
I did.
So you had confidence in him.
Yeah, because like obviously he scored in 2 consecutive before that, and then I looked at his previous matchup against the Rangers. He had 5 goals in his last 5 games against them, so he's been scoring. He's been scoring against the Rangers quite a bit. So I was confident in that one.
Yeah,
but
nice
the Oilers
finish.
Money line, it was good at the start. I thought that was an easy cash, but didn't happen.
One thing I'll say is whenever the Oilers and Rangers do play, it seems like it's always like a fun back and forth affair. I mean, back earlier this year, it was like we were down 3-0 pretty early. We came back to beat them last time we played them. So and then of course we all know McDavid's incredible goal against the Rangers back in 2021. So
yeah, it was last November, last year, November last season.
QF Pro 21. I mean, Dry is scoring, but Dry also looks like he's playing 1.5 lungs. Maybe. We've got this going back to the Erik Karlsson stuff. Cato and Steven saying a lot of talk about his relationship with Kane. I don't know. I mean, they're professional.
I think it's fine.
Maybe I wouldn't look into that one too much.
Hey,
Yeah.
If anything, I saw a photo of Kane and Carlson laughing and smiling together, so there's a positive sign there.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys, I've been really impressed with Evander Kane off the ice. The things he's been doing. I know the track record, well aware of what he's happened in the past, but since he's been here, I think he's been like an ideal citizen. He's doing work with charities and
exactly. He was at that. He was at the Ben Stelter Memorial Tournament. Yesterday did the puck drop, so it's good to see. Yeah, he's like been awesome on the ice and obviously off the ice as well, giving back to the community. So it's been awesome to see from Evander Kane.
100%. We got Rusty the Reckless Optimist here, our favorite. He forgot it's the long weekend. That's a great time. Yes, it is the long weekend. Oilers playing not tomorrow, so we all get a Saturday night off, which is great. And then we are back on a Sunday afternoon. The Oilers take on the Colorado Avalanche. That's certainly going to be a tough matchup. If the Colorado Avalanche can continue to get healthy and play some good hockey, we'll see what happens with that one.
This has been it's been a weird losing streak the Oilers have been on, because they got a terrible game against Montreal, and then they're getting points out of Detroit and the Rangers here, so you're still getting something. But it's just, I think the fashion that they've been losing has just been leaving a bad taste in the Oilers fans' mouth. It's like, it feels like the effort and the sluggishness, I don't know, it's just something that's not right about these losses.
Yeah, 100%. I was just actually going to grab the schedule here and go back and look at the last couple games here. I mean, if you just go back to the road trip, I guess, coming off of the All-Star break, the 5-2 win against Detroit, I think at that point everybody was thinking, okay, yeah, they're right where they left off. That's great to see. But then the 2-1 loss in a shootout to Philly, only scoring 1 goal against Philly, a disappointment. They did get the win against the Sens, but then the game against the Montreal Canadiens on Super Bowl Sunday was absolutely terrible. Shootout loss to the Red Wings at home, a 5-4 game, and then the shootout loss tonight. Part of it for me is, I'm just so used to them winning in overtime. Like, I'm not used to seeing McDavid and Draisaitl not march down the ice 2-on-1, bury it. Like, it's almost that expectation that they're going to find a way to win, and then in the last two they haven't, and then the shootouts just haven't looked very good, especially from those two big players. Actually, never mind. I should take that back. McDavid did score last game in the shootout, so I'll take that one back. It was a nice shot.
Yeah, and the thing is, everyone's like saying, "Oh, this is why we need Carlson. This is why we need Carlson." Well, we need Carlson to go on like a deep playoff run. We don't need Carlson to be like just so we can beat Detroit or Montreal, right? Like, the team that we have in general should be able to beat some of these weaker opponents or be able to close out a game against New York, right? Like, it's more so a problem with the team we currently have. I don't know what it is, and I think it's more so team defense that's been a huge problem. It's hard to blame one guy. Like, Jack Campbell, I thought had a great game. He made some fantastic saves. Sure, he let in some goals that I could have had that one back. But at the end of the day, I thought Campbell played well, and just in general, the team needs to play better.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, because we did see this for the first couple months of the season. Even strength defensively just wasn't good enough. I like to think there's some coaching moments here where you can break it down. Hey guys, we have to be better as a 5-on-5, 4-on-4 unit. Of course, taking penalties late in the game that's not going to help you. Shooting the puck over the glass, it's pretty black and white call. You can't be doing stupid things like that, especially against the Rangers, who can put out a pretty outstanding power play like that one. Just a lot of little mistakes. And I think Gregor had the stat last game. It was 2 unforced icings led to goals. Just little things like that they have to clean up. If they do that, they'll get back on track. But if they don't, it's going to be tough. Dante says, if you guys were the GM, what would you give for Carlson? Why don't let's ask that question. If you're watching Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you can answer us as well. But let us know, if you were giving up a package to get Erik Karlsson, what would it be? And I mean, it's going to probably be Bouchard, I would think. They'll probably want a player who can go. Maybe it's Tyson Barrie to clear some cap space.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, Connor. Like, I if we get Karlsson, trust me, I'm all in on getting Karlsson to the Edmonton Oilers, but I don't want to trade both Barrie and Bouchard. I understand it's going to take one, most likely Barrie, just because of money, but I wouldn't trade both in the deal.
I hate to bring this up, but there was a fake Carlson trade thing. You know, on Twitter when people change their logo to the Oilers and everything,
Or like Bob McKenzie or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, Oilers trade. We have acquired. This isn't real. We have acquired Erik Karlsson from San Jose in exchange for a conditional 2023 first round pick, conditional 2024 first round pick, Puljujarvi, and slapshot bum Leon Draisaitl. I mean,
oh no.
Well, let's show. I mean, Leon's awesome, but I think the big thing with Karlsson really is just retaining salary. That's the big thing. How do we, who can we get a third team involved like we saw with Minnesota, Toronto, and St. Louis, right? Like, I do not want to give up Evan Bouchard. That's just me because he's still very young. He can still become a very useful NHL player. But I would maybe give up Tyson Bear. I don't know. It's tough to say.
No, for sure. Like, obviously, you just said, like, obviously, salary is a big issue with the Karlsson trade. But Toronto showed today, and if you want to make it work, you'll make it work, right? Ken Holland will figure out a way to make the money work. I hope so. Erik Karlsson.
Or I just hope those around him can, help guide him in a sense, right? It comes down to the whole management team, not just Ken Holland. He's not. He kind of has the final say on things, but he does have assistants for a reason.
Yeah. QF Pro says at Edmonton Oilers. I saw that too. Yeah, you got to watch out for the Oilers. I just look at if I'm San Jose and Erik Karlsson. I know what he is. I know how good he is. I have no problem retaining salary. But when you start offering me first round picks, my first thought is, okay, that's going to be like 27th, 28th. Yeah, it's almost like a second. Like that's not as enticing as a great pick.
True.
So like but I also want a defensive prospect. Like I want someone to take Karlsson's spot. So is it Tyson Barrie? He's around for another year. That'd be cool. But I want someone who I can build with. So that's why I say realistically, I feel like, it might cost you Bouchard. Maybe it's Broberg, but you want someone young that you can have on your blue line and develop, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, on San Jose point of view, 100%. Like, you're definitely asking for like a Bouchard or a Broberg if you're San Jose. And I would not be surprised if it's like a Borgo as well, kind of in that deal.
I think there's one positive out of this whole Karlsson thing is that it seems like the Oilers are the only team really interested that we know and that's been reported. No one else is kind of like sniffing around him. I think with O'Reilly, you had a few teams scouting and trying to make a move for him. I think Dante Fox on Facebook said, I hope Holland doesn't wait like he did with trying to get Markstrom. So in this sense, he can be a little bit more patient, I feel, based on there's not many teams really going after Karlsson.
Ron on Facebook says Bouchard, Puljujarvi, Borgo, a first-round pick for Gregor and Karlsson, fourth to a third team to make the cap work. Noah Gregor. I know a guy who would be very happy to see him come back to Edmonton.
Yeah. What's a name I think the Oilers might consider trading? He's a prospect. Gavin, I would love your thoughts on this. Matvei Petrov. He's been lighting up this the OHL, and I wonder if he's a player they can use as a trade piece.
Yeah, like obviously if it tips the scale to bring him here 100%, I'd do that, right? Because like I was saying earlier, I'm all in on Erik Karlsson. So
Petrov, 51 games this year with the North Bay Battalion, 23 goals, 53 points. 53 assists, 76 points, 6'2", 200 pounds. I mean that's got to be enticing. 6th round pick back in 2021. Yeah, he loved when those late round picks have some success like that one. Gems. Yeah, you hope it hits, and we'll wait and see if it does. But yeah, he's playing very well. We also have Frank on Facebook says Barrie, JP, Borgo, and a pick for Karlsson. Use Bouch on another for a trade. Yeah, I just don't know. Like if I'm San Jose, Borgo's nice. A pick, like I said, is going to be late in the first round, so that's not as great to me. Barry's gone in a year and a bit due to free agency, and yes, the Puljujarvi. You don't know. I mean, why do people want Puljujarvi right now? You tell me that. A reclamation project? That's about it. I don't know. He's
for sure.
He doesn't to me show high hockey IQ. He hasn't produced. He's disruptive. Yes. I'll give him that, and I think he's an NHLer, but I don't think he's a top 6 guy. So that's just to take him is just doing the Oilers a favor, I think.
Yeah, and like the only thing that might be appealing for a guy like Pulley from other teams is he's just a buy low candidate, right? One of the reasons why we could be like looking at a Tyler Bertuzzi bringing in, because same thing, right? He's an extremely buy low candidate, and Bertuzzi scored 30 goals already in his career. So I think that's the only reason why I think a team would be interested in Pulley, because he's not going to cost a lot, but he has a little bit of reward to him.
man, I mean, hey, I hope he goes somewhere, and I hope he finds his groove and makes it work. But I just don't know how much trade value he has for $3 million.
No, exactly, right.
So Sean in Calgary says Kane ends up in Dallas. I guess the chat must have got to Patrick Kane. I saw some people saying he'd look good in a shootout.
One player,
yes, he would.
One player I'd like to ask you guys about. What do you think of Matthias Janmark? Because for me, I don't really notice much from him, but he's always in the top 6. Is that because he's more of a veteran presence? Like, what do you think of Matthias Janmark?
I mean, it seems like there's okay plays every once in a while.
Yeah.
He shows up. I don't know if it's more so just having him up there to have someone else further down in the lineup to maybe generate some more balance, but yeah, I don't know. He's kind of hit and miss for me. I think on a really good team, Matthias Janmark's not in your top 6.
No,
not at all.
No, and the thing about Matthias Janmark too, sometimes you don't really notice him every game, but that's not always a bad thing either, right? But at the same time, I'm indifferent about Matthias Janmark, but I think he's one of Woody's guys for sure. Woody absolutely loves him.
Yeah, I think he trusts him, and I think there's that potential for him to have a couple splash plays, if you can steal a football term. Bassam says, where was Costin today? He was sick. He had an illness, so that was too bad. Definitely a big loss. They missed him. I mean, I think he has games where he kind of disappears, but just that physicality that he brings, I think that could have been big in this one for sure.
I'll use the term splash play, like you just said too. Connor Costin provides that too. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a goal out of nowhere, right? Like you're not going to count on him to do it all the time, but every once in a while can chip in offensively. It certainly helps. Some stranger, Janmark is a stable bottom 6. Totally agree with you on that one.
100%.
And again, Rusty, when the Oilers are fully healthy, he's not in our top 6. Yeah, so it's kind of trying to move those things around. Clean Shady would have got the game winner. Can't disagree. He would have found a way. He just would have got it done. And Cato says, really hope Holland's patience pays off and he does something worthwhile.
We all hope so, I think, at this point. We just want something to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. I also do have to mention, because the Nation Vacation is coming up in a little while here, out to Toronto. It's March 10th to 12th. I don't know how much you guys talk about it in the office or anything. There might be some spots up for grabs. I heard there was between 0 and 5 last time we did a show. Any word on that, you guys? We got any availability?
Yeah, they're talking today at the office. I heard that there's 2 spots left available for the next Nation Vacation.
It's dwindling. So if you want to go, make sure you check it out. Nationgear.ca. It's March 10th to 12th. You get to see Oilers Leafs in a box suite. Stay at the Royal York. An experience powered by AMA Travel. My fiance actually was like, AMA's a sponsor. I used to use them for all my trips. They make it so easy. They help you with visas and stuff.
There you go.
So, yeah, that's the God honest truth. I'm not making that up. She is a big fan of AMA Travel.
Yeah, and it is almost sold out. We had a post on our Instagram as well. March 10th to March 12th, 2023, Toronto, Ontario. Almost sold out, so hurry up. Nation vacations are always a great time, especially with Toronto and Edmonton in the mix. Oh, that's good. That sounds like a fun time.
You know what? Could you imagine you guys partying with I don't know, let's see, maybe Rusty or Brock or JL, Dr. Gonzo, Bassam, Frank, Jessica? Maybe you want to take the vacation. I don't know. We'll wrap it up here with this one. Let's get a prediction for the game on Sunday. It is a 1 p.m. start, so a nice Sunday afternoon game. One prediction for the final score, and also if you were throwing some money down on Betway, what would be one of your predictions?
Okay, I'll go. Okay, I think we're gonna go to OT again, but we're gonna get the win in overtime. I'm feeling it, and I'm gonna go Zach Hyman anytime goal scorer, because he should have had one tonight, but he just missed and the Nuge pot at home. So I'm gonna go Hyman anytime goal scorer and Oilers win.
I think I'm gonna go with the over. I think the Oilers are gonna win in regulation 5-3. I think it's gonna be an absolute wild afternoon. And I'm going to go with, I'm trying to think here, actually. I want to go with a Zach Hyman goal and assist.
I like it. Okay, well, you know what? We're never going to pick the Oilers to lose on this program.
No.
So, yeah, I'm going to say 5-4 Oilers win. I guess take the over in goals as well. And you know what? No, I can't do it. I was going to say Oilers lead after every period. That'd be too wild. I can't do that one. I don't trust that.
I believe if Ken Holland really wants the Oilers to win against Colorado, just walk into the room and say, if you win this, I get Erik Karlsson. just lay it on the table. This
on you guys.
Well, Barry might not want to win then, but he might be the only one.
Or Bouchard.
Their hands go up. Who's it for, Ken? Yeah. Okay, I'm taking Evander Kane anytime goal scorer in this one then.
Absolutely.
All right. We got a few. Dante says 3-2 Colorado. Bassam says 5-3 Colorado. Kyle the Embalmer says loss plus 3.5. Oh, plus 3.5 Oilers. Tyson 4-3 win Oilers. Sean in Calgary 6-1 Oilers. Maynard Oilers have to score 5 to win. Maybe they will. Brock's got 6-5 Oilers. Barn burner. Rusty Oilers gonna curb stomp the Avalanche. 6-1 drubbing incoming. Okay, and one more. Who's starting between the pipes?
Assuming Stu is healthy. That up. I assume it's gonna be Stu on Sunday.
I'm gonna go Jack Campbell. I think there's a lot of confidence in him right now. And also one fun fact to bring up: last time we played the Rangers, I hit the live comeback on Betway, and I won it. I was very happy, and I'm very unhappy that we lost tonight. It feels like the roles are reversed tonight. I should have hit the comeback on the Rangers, I guess.
Oh, it would have been funny if you did, if you nailed it. Was it a nice payday? Like how big was it?
Oh, for me, it wasn't crazy. I only got like $40, I guess. I don't know. Okay. I don't bet it. I'm not like Gavin. Gavin rolls in the dollar bills. I see all his bets. I see his bets on Twitter. It's like, wow.
Garan says Oilers cough up 5-1, lead, lose, and shootout. Oh my God, Ron, how could you say that? That would be absolutely awful. All right, yeah, and we got some people saying Stu is sick as well. Yeah, so if he's healthy, I think Stuart gets the nod, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe he doesn't want to fly while he's a little bit ill. All right, again, thank you to all the people and the companies that help us here. Cornerstone Insurance, cornerstoneins.ca/nation to get an online tenant or condo insurance quote. AMA Travel, check them out if you want to go on that trip to Toronto. A couple spots left, nationgear.ca. And of course, Betway. If you're going to go have some fun there, do so responsibly. 19 plus. Gavin, Lost, thanks guys. Really appreciate you doing this tonight.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely, and join us again on Sunday afternoon. The game starts at 1, so we'll probably be on around, I don't know, 3:40, give or take, around there. Join us.
Unless there's an overtime or shootout again. It might be a little bit later, but we'll see.
That could certainly happen. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us today here on Oilers Nation After Dark.